What is the appropriate length of a voicemail to leave somebody? If you have voicemail, let me ask you this, Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
And I know calling your phone is just always a joy because you have it set up circa 2007.
Dude, I don't know how to get rid of it, and I pay for it.
Let's be clear.
I pay for it every month.
Bobby has a ringback tone, and it's the default Mozart music. I did notice last time I called you that it doesn't say, please wait for your party
Enjoy
to
your
answer,
ringback
or
tone?
enjoy this tone. I'm pretty sure you could call them and say, hey, flashback, I still have this service.
Can I get rid of it?
So do you have voicemail set up on your phone?
Yes.
I don't on my personal phone because I despise a voicemail, but I have to have it on my work phone.
Right.
So what's the appropriate length for somebody to leave a voicemail?
Oh, I would say name, level of importance, and whether you need and the desired action you need. So
okay.
I would say 15, 20 seconds tops. Like, what's up, man? It's Bobby. I need to know if you need me to drop that off today. Could you give me a call and let me know? Or could you send me a text and let me know? Name, what you're calling about and what you need from the other person.
Let's get down to business, right?
Yes.
The reason I say this, I had a voicemail the other day, and I'm off on Fridays now, and I try to still answer my work phone if it rings. I didn't happen to hear it this particular day. It was like 4 o'clock on a Friday. I was probably already checked out. 3 minutes.
Yeah, too much, dude. Far too much.
And I did listen all the way through. And at the end, he gives a return call number that's different than the number he called from.
Ugh.
But it's Friday. I'm like, I'll take care of it next week. So like Monday rolls around. I'm like, oh, I got to call that guy. And maybe I'm dumb on an iPhone. Maybe I'm not. I can't figure out how to speed through this voicemail. So guess what I have to do again?
No.
I had to listen to the whole thing. But at least when I called him, I knew exactly our points of reference and what I needed to talk about.
Oh, that's fucking crazy. The people that leave the long-winded voicemail and like almost start carrying on a conversation with no one is maddening. Like, no, I don't know if I did that or not. Let me think. Did I do that? Did I put that on there? I can't remember. But anyway, just give me a call. You know what I mean? Like it's absurd.
Yeah. The ones that kill me is if I've never talked to you before, or we don't talk like every month or so, or and mainly speaking from a work standpoint,
right?
And you need to leave me like more information. But if it's like a coworker or somebody that I talk to on a regular basis, like weekly, like just say, hey, call me back, or just know if you call me, I'm gonna call you back. It's rare that I just don't call people back.
Right.
I have a coworker that I called, and yesterday he called. I literally saw it on the last ring, walked out of the room to make the call back, and he's like, "Oh, I was leaving you a voicemail." I was like, "Thank God I caught this," because he whatever it is he wanted,
right?
And I guess it goes to how important you feel about what you are trying to relay to this person you're leaving a message. Is it important enough where I can just leave it here and hope you hear it? Right. Or do I actually want to confirm you get this information by saying I spoke with you and had interaction?
Yeah.
I would much rather have the latter.
Well, it's funny you say that because I'm big on, and it must say something about me psychologically, like my maybe a lack of trust, general trust. But I'm big on the accountability that you have received my message. So if I leave a voicemail, there's no way for me to confirm that you have it, that you're going to ever get it, or that you've heard it. I just have to assume that you have. It's like an email, right? But if I send you a direct message, or if I'm talking to Apple people and I send them an iMessage, a lot of people get delivered. You get a delivered receipt or a red receipt, etc. And it's okay, now and sometimes for me that's good enough. I don't even need any correspondence from you. You know what I mean? If I'm okay, cool, he saw it, we're good. Or he read it, we're good. I don't need an okay or an acknowledgement of it. If it's business, you know what I mean? If it's just boom, boom, boom. Now, sometimes I'll play around on your voicemail. Not yours specifically, but that's different. If it's a joke and it's entertaining, then by all means go for broke.
Listen, I've played plenty of jokes on people on voicemail. It's I can pull off a really good Southern accent. So I remember one time we had It was actually when old company I worked for was a filter rep, which is the business I'm in.
Right.
And I was calling him for something, and I hit him with, "Oh yeah, this is Jimmy Smith down here at Pascagoula Tractor Repair." Told this horrible story about how the filter exploded, and I ran over a garden and all this. And the dude calls me back all panicked. Hey, calling about the dude. I'm just playing. But he was literally upset. But my favorite thing to do is if it's somebody I know that loves to leave long-winded voicemails, but I know who it is, I'll just call them back. They're like, "Hey, did you get my voicemail?" "No, I didn't have a chance to listen to it."
Yeah, dude, I love that. I love that too. I do like I enjoy voicemails usually from Robert, and they're usually long-winded, but it's fucking like it's a circus, But like it'll start off like it doesn't matter if I had to decline his call because I was in the middle of something, or if I was just not by my phone. It always starts with, no time, just no time to take a. You know what I mean? Like it always starts with some guilt trip.
Right.
But like that, I enjoy. It's like watching a fucking sitcom or something, Like,
exactly.
But people that was it Lindsay Ford in Wheaton, Maryland, has been calling me just about every day to tell me that they're still interested in a car I'm not selling to buy, and nice. They leave extremely long-winded voicemails. And I finally, I had it set on my phone where like. If I don't have your number saved, you automatically go to voicemail.
Right.
But I had to turn it off for this shit that I'm going through with the COVID, with doctors calling and you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I finally got them on the phone, and I was like, "Look, I never wanted to sell. You know what I mean? I let them have it. Like I never wanted to sell it. You've been calling and fucking emailing and how many times do you have to get zero reply from me to take note that I'm not interested in selling it? Like, who is working up there, and what fucking educational requirements do you have to have in order to realize that I don't want to sell you my fucking vehicle?"
Right. Oh, wow.
So, how was your nerd week?
It was good. I spent the majority of it getting this machine up and running, and spent an entire day Saturday trying to. The software I'm using is the machine's like an open source thing, so it doesn't have proprietary software. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons I went with this model is because the software that I use for my first machine works with this. So I was told. Mm-hmm. And I had to learn a lot about the minutia of the coding of these machines.
Yikes.
Okay, you go in and change the geo. It's way in the weeds.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's $100 equals 200.7, and it's, yeah.
So just for any new listeners, you're talking about another router for diorama cutting,
right? So now I have two CNC routers to build toy displays with. Yeah, amongst other things I could be doing, but
live, laugh, love signs, for instance.
I could put a skull face family sign. You could put above the marital bed. Or,
yeah, perfect.
Maybe some little hooks for accessories. I don't know.
I love
it. But I wanted to be able to cut 2-inch material, and I think one file I had was cutting fine. The other one, it was always off. Like it would come back 2 millimeters off when it came back to home. But the thing that doesn't seem that's a minuscule amount. But when you're cutting out things, and the style I use, I've got the little pointed, kind of my trademark on these pieces that we're doing. It's got the little triangle point at the top. Well, when they don't all line up, it really fucking looks bad.
Right.
2 millimeters, it does. So I think it may be, Kelly and I had talked about it. It may be the file I created is just too data heavy for the coding. So I might have to just go in and rework that. But it works great on 1-inch material. Just choose it right up. So Kelly and I've been
working on that new prototype. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it yet, but it's fucking. It's probably my favorite. Smart.
Really?
Yeah, it's smart.
Yeah.
It's very smart.
It's a good use for what you already have. So we have a couple things. Hopefully by the weekend we'll be ready to roll out some prototypes and start taking some orders in. I'm pretty excited about it.
It's the ornaments. It's the ornaments that make it.
So, I'm partnering with My Action Figure Customs, who's a pretty big name in the custom Mythic Legion community with some pieces. I think everybody's pretty excited to see what we come up with together. So I'm pumped to get it out. It's just getting all the and everything just right. So we're going to reissue the first set we did, the Windows, a version of that, because a lot of people are missed out on that initially. They got the doorway and want to pick that up or pick up extra ones if they got it.
Right.
Kelly and I think we have 5 episodes left in Game of Thrones.
Whoa. You guys have been fucking burning through that shit.
Well, it's not. I mean, well, truth be told, she picked it up with me halfway through, so, and I haven't had to go back and explain a whole bunch. Right. I've told her I think it would be interesting to go back and watch the first half, kind of as a prequel.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you, who do you hate more? And I get the guy's name confused, I think, but Joffrey or Ramsay? Is it Ramsay? Whatever the guy is, it's like
yeah.
Definitely
Ramsay.
Yeah, dude, me too. But I've heard a lot of people say Joffrey, but like to me, Joffrey's like child's play until you get to that. Yeah,
Joffrey, it was an unruly child. Let's be honest. Yeah, he killed some people with crossbows and whatnot, but that's this last season's been interesting so far. I mean, it seems to me like with 5 episodes left, they have a lot to wrap up in 5 episodes.
Yeah, and I mean, there's obviously, I mean, I'm sure you've heard that there's discontent in regard to.
Sure, there's always discontent.
Absolutely.
One thing that is kind of aggravating, I'm watching it through a streaming platform, and the load screen for it is literally every character in some facet of their being in the show. Uh-huh. And a lot of it is like, well, I guess that kind of, certain people standing together. I'm like, that right. If you're in the first season, you're like, well, these people aren't together. I guess it's kind of steals the story for me. But, and like I've said, I've been spoiled on a lot of it, like over the, because it was just such a piece of pop culture that,
right. Yeah.
That, not everybody, so many people watch it, but even like I was in Walmart, this weekend. And just spoiler alert, we just seen the episode, I think yesterday, where Cersei takes the throne after Tommen decides to kill himself. And I hadn't seen that yet. I was walking through Walmart and I saw a pop figure of her sitting on the Iron Throne with a crown. I'm like, oh, I guess that's coming pretty quick.
So. It's probably like, now that you talk about how much it's in pop culture, it's probably the biggest original thing since The Matrix.
Harry Potter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. Harry Potter.
Yeah. But I mean, outside of that, I mean, yeah, because everything else is either a remake of something, or it's Star Wars, or it's Marvel, or DC.
Yeah.
Or the oddball indie comic thing.
Correct.
But nothing's been as big as that.
It's interesting.
So, but it's kind of like, well, you get melancholy about finishing something like that.
Yeah. It's hard to close, man. But yeah. I'll tell you, I didn't mind it. Like, I know it bothered a lot of people, but I really honestly feel like it had to do with the ending that people wanted versus the ending that people got.
Right, well, yeah, and people are never gonna be happy. There's no way to make people happy.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I'm watching it now. I guess it makes sense from kind of what I'm doing creatively. It has been a good inspiration.
Oh, for sure.
And actually, it probably should have taken notes on where certain things are in certain scenes, because there's been some nice architectural
to draw from. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, to pull some inspiration from. I went toy hunting. Me and Mason went to like 7 Targets and 2 Walmarts the Friday morning.
You have any luck?
And I saw 1 Roadblock figure.
I tell you what, let me know if you come across that Slash and Leatherhead set.
Yeah, I didn't see any turtle stuff.
I had a guy try to scout me one of those recently.
So what's retail? $50?
Yeah.
What was he trying to get for him?
100. 100. And and here's the thing: if it was just some random guy, I wouldn't think twice about it. I'd just be like, no thanks. You know what I mean? But I get you. But like, this is a guy that's like, and I mean, no disrespect to him. I wish him the best, but like, he's hit me up multiple times to get my thoughts, opinions, or advice, or whatever the case may be on shit, and then now this is how he came to me. So like, he sent me a screenshot also, which I want to ask your opinion about, but not necessarily right this second, but of the Quintesson from X Transbots.
Yes.
And he was like, this fucking price, it's like $175 or whatever.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, man, my opinion on that price is going to cost you $299. I haven't heard back from him since.
That's great.
It's like, just common courtesy, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's one thing to like the random hustle, but it's like, if somebody's, looked out for you, and I don't know. But people don't give a shit about that. People out for self.
Yeah. I will say, Kelly, my wife, had been wanting some Masters of the Universe figures, or He-Mans, as I'm just calling them He-Mans now. They're He-Mans.
That's crazy.
And we looked at she obviously played with the vintage stuff. It was one of the main toy lines that her and her brother played with when they were kids. And, vintage stuff is hit or miss. It's either, it's a He-Man with no paint left on it for, more money than you want, or it's some of this shit's just gone through the roof. It's $300-$400 for some stuff. Well, this Origins line that's coming out it's the size and scale and pretty much look of the original figures, but they've added articulation. I mean, it's got, the old ones had 5 points of articulation, maybe 6 if you counted a waist swivel.
Right. But
so these have a ton of articulation.
But they look just like the originals, right?
They look like they're the original.
Right.
So shout out to Dom. He had found early the Skeletor He-Man, and he shipped them over. And they're great. They really are. Kelly loves them. I was sitting there posing them and playing with them, and they're obviously that kind of doofy scale of that figure. There's nothing realistic about it.
Right.
But I mean, they're fun. They capture that. They capture the. I guess maybe the not the tune tickles, the toy tickles, as Dust would say. So there's a couple more things should be here today or tomorrow and I guess they're kind of getting out wide at Walmart. So there's actually peg space for. I think they've got 6 peg hooks for those figures at Walmart in most of the planogram sets. Did
they announce a new He-Man line as well? It's like just silhouettes.
Yeah, so apparently next year they're going to do, I don't know what they're calling it. It's like a 7-inch figure line. It's supposed to be like more of a...
updated?
I guess. It was just silhouettes. But for this Origins line, they've released tons of images, stuff that's coming out next year, like all the battle armor stuff and some of the figures with the bigger accessories. They're going to be more expensive, obviously, but, $20 for something.
I wonder what that like. I'm curious about that line. That 7-inch line, because the classics were about 7-inch, weren't they?
Yeah, they're about that size.
Yeah, I don't know. It has my attention because like I'm looking to kind of finish off my He-Man collection. I'm not a huge He-Man fan. I'm like a moderate He-Man fan. But like I want like the core cast. You know what I mean? Like, I guess when you bump into people that are like into Transformers or whatever, they're like, you know what? I'm good with just Optimus and Megatron and Devastator and Omega Supreme, and I'm good, or whatever the case may be. That's kind of how I feel about He-Man. Like, I kind of want like He-Man, Teela, Man-at-Arms, like Orko, like you know what I mean? Like the core cast of each side, but then my fucking slippery slope of a mind starts going like, yeah, but Hordak was kind of cool, and the fucking Horde were kind of cool, and so, but we'll see where it goes. But I know that my logistic space is what it is now.
Right.
So like I'm locked in to certain parameters.
Yeah. And those toys may be tied into that new Kevin Smith fiction that's going to be on Netflix.
That's right. That's right.
So that could be the real big push for that, or it could be like, Super 7 kind of continuation of what they had done this last go around, which was, I don't even know. I mean, the classics line, there's so much. It's like Turtles. There's how many companies are making Turtles? How many? And it looks like Mattel's consolidated this back to their own house now. But
yeah,
it's been in the wind for so long.
That classics line is pretty amazing, though, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. and they fetch a pretty penny now too.
Yeah, no shit. I think
Especially
Yule. I think Yule. Shout out to Yule. I think he had 2 of each.
Yeah.
He's sitting on some cake.
Yeah, I was. There's some Facebook page I got clued into that they do like live auctions every day. I think they're actually here in Maryland. It's like Eternia Collectibles.
No shit.
Yeah. E Prime put me onto that, and I don't quite understand the format of how that works, like the auction thing. So, but they were doing Mythic Legion stuff there too, and I guess they have a store somewhere, and then since they can't really, I guess, sell the way they want to, they're just doing that. But yeah, so I mean, that's obviously a rabbit hole if somebody wanted to go into at this point, especially.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's really about it. Just been busy with that stuff, and going to the we got a pile of 2-inch foam. It was my big purchase from that toy run. So looking forward to getting that. I broke the bit also. I had a horrible day for Saturday, and the machine wouldn't work right. I broke the freaking bit, and it takes a week basically to get another one. So I ordered 3 this time. So we'll see how that goes. How about you, Bobby?
So I'm still getting over this shit. But I'm not complaining. I had a very Moderona case of it, but
Moderona. Gotcha.
But I'm still I can't shake this fucking last bit of congestion. You know what I mean? Like just this last like I feel like I'm constantly clearing my throat, so to speak. Let's see. But we did watch a ton of shit. I started watching Doom Patrol.
Okay.
Because we have HBO Max somehow. I don't know how.
Okay.
I think it came free for 30 days with some Apple TV that we get. I don't know. I don't know. But we have it. And dude, it's fucking great so far.
Really?
Yeah, I'm only like 2 episodes in. And like I was like begrudgingly like watching it. You know what I mean? And then like it took like 15 minutes and I was like, wait a minute, is this good? But like it's not WB at all. That's what I was afraid of. Do you know what I mean? Like,
okay.
It's not at all. Like within like the first 10 minutes, there's Brendan Fraser's like railing this chick, like and tits are out, ass out, like going for it.
Nice.
Which is nice, but it's like it's just not at all what I expected it to be. You know what I mean? Because I was like,
right.
Fuck, this shit is going to be like teeny bopper, bullshit, like most of their TV programs.
So hang on a minute. Wasn't that on that DC? Is that DC network dead now?
So
or did they absorb it?
I think it's absorbed by HBO Max, which is basically the Warner Brothers.
It's the Warner Brothers pay stream, yeah.
But there is some interesting shit with that too, because like Man of Steel isn't on there, for instance, because it's still licensed out to I think FX.
Possibly.
And so like I don't know. There's all this shit surrounding it. You know what I mean? Where it's like they don't have everything quite consolidated yet. Kind of like where Disney Plus was when it launched. Like Last Jedi and Rogue One was still on Netflix, so it wasn't on Disney Plus. And I think Infinity War, same with that, like little odds and ends.
So I just pulled it up, and the DCUniverse.com is still here. It's showing, it's got Doom Patrol, Titans, Young Justice, Krypton, Stargirl.
Yeah,
but they're also like, it's a digital comic platform also.
Yes.
So that is that may be why they may end up sharing the TV and movie stuff with the Warner app, but it looks like this gives you more of the, the comics if you want to read them. Oh, look, they have a forum. God damn.
Yeah.
What year is it?
There was like Swamp Thing is not on there yet. I don't think Teen Titans is on there either. It's like Doom Patrol, a lot of the animated stuff. I don't know. So we've been catching up on it, and then it like, Laura wanted to watch like all the DC movies again. So like every day, and she's actually like she's still recovering also, but like she's been kicking ass. She's taken off like all of the cabinets, like not off the walls, but like she took like all the doors and shit off of them and is like sanded them and painted them and all. My house looks totally different now. with her being home for 3 weeks. But like, and then like she'll like run into the corner and like cough her fucking lungs out, and then get back up there and start painting again.
Right.
So we watched. We've been watching them kind of in chronological order. So we watched Wonder Woman, and we watched Man of Steel, and then we watched BVS Uncut today. And like, I don't know. I mean, like so far, I mean, like, you know, it's you know, I don't care for a handful of those films, but those two in particular are super strong.
Yeah, I liked that Wonder Woman. I've not watched it again since I saw it in the theater, but I really liked it.
Yeah, that, I mean, a Man of Steel, dude, is like, I was watching that shit yesterday, and like the only thing that bothers me about that movie is Kevin Costner's death. Just because it's like, I just find it so hard to like stomach that like he couldn't come up with a way to save his father, like, and also hide who he is. Like, I feel like he could have taken off his super speed and just got him out of there and went to the next town over. And people were like, "What happened? Where did Clark go?" You know, but like nobody would have seen it. You know,
exactly.
Faster than a speeding bullet in that, right?
Exactly.
And I just think that it's important for his father to die of a heart attack, because it just reinforces that like you can't save everybody, and that you're not fucking human. You'll never have this problem. So anyway, let's see what else. I also been catching up a little bit, like on South Park.
Really?
Yeah, because I really enjoy that show. But I just, I don't have cable, so I don't really watch it. But it's that shit's fucking funny, man. Somehow like some of the shit they get away with, I'm like still. I think people like it has just numbed people, like the people that would, like the critics that would be all over it. It's just like they've slammed them in the head with a sledgehammer so many times that like I guess the FCC or whatever just doesn't. I just fucking let them be. Just let them be. I was watching that. We watched that documentary, I think, which is what got us into it. Have you ever seen it? 6 Days to Air.
I don't think so.
It's pretty awesome. So it's about like what goes into making an episode. And like how a lot of times, like, you know, because their shit is so current, they're like making the episode within the week that it comes out. So it's called 6 Days to Air. It's awesome. And it's also awesome like to see those guys, because like I don't know why I'm a sucker for shit like this, but it's like the fact that these dudes are like still wearing like JCPenney's khaki shorts with like flip-flops and a t-shirt that says like I hate Mondays or whatever.
Right.
You know, and it's like you're a fucking millionaire with like Emmy nominated fucking shows, Tony nominated fucking Broadway plays, music, you know what I mean? Like, and you just show up for work with like a half-eaten bag of McDonald's and flip-flops. You know?
Wouldn't you?
Well, yes, I would, but I feel like most people they get that money and they change. Do you know what I mean? Like,
are they pulling up in a Lamborghini at least?
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like it. You know what I mean? Like it looks like
I had to borrow my mom's van to come to work today.
So anyway, I dig that about them. But they had this. They were working on the episode. I don't know if you've ever seen it, where they do like the play on the human centipede.
I've seen clips of it. I honestly, I watched South Park when it came out. Just obviously, I think we all did. But by the time, like, I don't know, it's like I missed a couple seasons, and it seemed like there were 7,000 episodes. It seems like they put out like 100 episodes. It's like a freaking G.I. Joe cartoon. After there's like 180 episodes a year. What the fuck? No, yeah. I don't know. It just seems like an overwhelming. But I've watched episodes here and there, watched clips here and there.
So, like, there's this one about the human centipede, right? And it's like Kyle, I think Kyle, the Asian dude, and some other guy that gets sewn together or whatever, and like they make the like ass to mouth, like just like human centipede, and they make the Asian dude eat like he's hungry, right? And they're like. They're like, what do you want? We only have two options. It's like a day-old cuttlefish or some shit, or vanilla paste. And like the Asian dude like looks around his shoulder. He's like, which one, Kyle? And Kyle's like, mouth is sewn to the dude's ass, right? So he's like vanilla paste. It's like clearly vanilla paste, right? Oh. And then the dude's like, a cut of fish, okay. Dude,
So bad.
But anyway, so it's terrible. But it's like that's the episode that they're working on, and the lady that has to like call the like censorship people to explain what the episode is about. You can tell she just like fucking hates her job. Like she's like, so the one character's mouth will be shown to the anus of the. Yes, that's correct. To the anus of the, you know what I mean? Like, it's so fucking funny to me.
Oh my god.
So we watched that, and then I've been working my ass off on Dioramas. I actually I can't talk about it too much, but I have been like playing around with this marbling effect.
Yeah.
And I'm getting it. Like, I don't have it where I want it quite yet, but I'm getting good at it, and I'm getting fast at it. But it's my like I'm probably operating at like a 72%, but it's like there's little pockets that you'll see where it's like, oh, that's fucking it. That's 100% on right there. But then over here, it's like, no, you're off still here. But it's an interesting little tactic. I basically have been taking spider web, like from Halloween shit, and like stretching it super tight over the foam, basing the foam in the darkest color that I want in the marble, taking a spray, airbrush spray of like a mid-tone over top of it, kind of moderately, and then taking my lightest tone over top of that moderately as well, and then you peel off the spider webs, and what you're left with is this attempt at marbling.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I've seen something similar before, but not using the spider web.
Yeah, and it's
try it out.
Yeah, it's so like there's, like I said, there's some part, and you know, obviously, like so like if you're doing like you know, like one wall of like the cystic lesions, it's going to work perfectly. But like when you have like, you know how you have like there's like layers to the door opening where it's like, you know, it goes down a notch and it goes down a notch and it goes down a notch, and they're not all on the same plane, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it gets tricky. Like, that's where it gets harder. So it's almost like, you know, I don't know. I think your door made up of just one 1-inch piece of foam that's just carved in multiple levels?
The door itself,
the doorway.
The doorway is 4 pieces of 1-inch foam.
Okay, so if it would be best to do all 4 pieces separately before you glued them together. Correct. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But
you can't get in there so tight. We do a lot of pre-painting on stuff like that.
Yeah,
little nooks and crannies that, you know, if you're going to use because we paint with it's basically a car pneumatic paint gun, you know, to get in little tight spaces. So I spend a lot of time with a foam brush, you know, just getting these spaces. But a lot of time we do pre-painting for stuff, you know, if we're trying to do a special effect or something.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah, it's anyway, it's a work in progress, but I'm seeing the fucking improvement in real time, and now of course I'm done all the probably fucking marbling I need for the next fucking 2 years, and then I'll have lost everything that I've gained the next time I need to do it. But either way, what I'm working on now looks better than what I worked on previously, and etc.
Yeah, I think I've said this to you before. I was in your situation and was building those dioramas. I would just have to do them in the round, because by the time I got done, I'd have to start over with the first one I did, because I would be so unhappy with it.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, Adam used to talk to me about that, you know, that he felt that way about his 40K miniatures, right? Because he was making such strides in regard to his, you know, airbrush skills and, you know, what he had been working on, white dry brushing, of course.
Sure.
And I used to say to him, I was like, man, I was like, I think it's important to, like, I mean, just my philosophy on it, just to like keep this, like, you know, it's like a time capsule almost. Like, man, this is where I was at in 96 and 2006 and 2016 and 2026, and you know what I mean. I feel like the growth is important, unless it's one that's just fucking butt crack. You know, like my Wampa cave, I can't fucking stand looking at it. You know what I mean? But it's like. But it's like that's and my oil rig, like those two, I can't fucking stand looking at them. So they've got to go.
Yeah.
They've got to go.
You know, I have for a long time. I had some of the earliest stuff I had done, and I threw it away this past when we redid the shop, just because I was like, I I get it. It's there. I know what it was.
Yeah.
But I don't want to keep it because I don't know where to put it. So I threw away a bunch of stuff, my early work, just to get it out of the way, really.
Yeah. But like, I enjoy, like, one of the first ones I did, because I did a whole bunch, like, years and years and years ago for the 3 3/4 stuff, Star Wars stuff. And Joe and I did them. Like,
yeah, I remember.
Yeah, like a long fucking time ago. And like, where I used plastic card for the sidewalls and stuff.
Yep.
And like, they're all gone. I had to rip all them out because that just how I've gone about that collection has changed. But the one, like the first one I think that I did for this era was the Yavin throne room. And like,
okay.
If I was to do it today, there'd be a couple things that I would do differently. But I mean, like, I look at it and I'm like, man, like, this is what I had learned up to this point, you know? And then now I'm looking at like something I just did recently and I'm like, man, like, it's cool for me to see my growth, you know, and just technical stuff, you know, not really, not like ability, but just like technical knowledge of like, I did this way here and now I'm doing it this way here and it's faster and it looks better, you know?
Right. No, I think about, I have a book, and I guess I have a book of diorama stuff we had done early on that we were taking to shows, and I flipped through that the other day.
That's cool.
It is, but I mean, and I'll take that as my memory because it's like, wow, thank you all who bought stuff from me back then. I really appreciate it.
Do you still keep up with that? Have you still like
the books? No,
dude,
I wouldn't even.
What a bummer, man. That would be fucking great to like look back on.
I've got Instagram for that.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, it would be. I guess they're easy enough to make, but have these volumes of work.
So let me ask you, what do you think about that egg being $176?
What's the scale? I mean, how big? Have they shown how big it is?
I think it's about the size of a Masterpiece car bot, I think.
Let me look it up real quick.
I'm not exactly sure. It's big. It's fucking larger than you would think.
Well, I mean, I would hope so. 175. Right.
And it's got electronics and shit.
So it does have electronics.
Yes.
I hadn't seen the electronics.
Like it,
like shown,
the thing,
the
thing, like the energy beam that comes out of the bottom of it, like for the display stand, lights up.
Well, I mean, that's, they could do. That's actually pretty cool if they.
Yeah, I think it's a cool.
I'm trying to find pictures of
design.
It. When did they drop those images?
I don't know. It was this. I feel like it was this week or late last.
There
week.
It is. I found it. There it is.
I mean, it's sculpted well. It looks good. I just like, to me, it's almost like a matter of like the rubber meeting the road, so to speak. Like, where it's like, yeah, this shit ain't worth $175 to me. Like, it's just like that simple to me. It's like, it's a fucking quintesson. I had the Impossible Toys one. Looks fine.
Okay, so I'm watching. I found this on TFW. They have a prototype test. The whole thing rotates.
Correct.
And the base lights up, which, I mean, honestly, if I was still in the game, this was something I wanted back in the day. Like, if this had come out
during the height of your Transformer
3 years ago, yeah. And it's like each face has a different light up. I don't know. That's pretty cool, man. I didn't realize it did all that.
Oh, no. I think it's cool, too. Don't get me wrong. I think it's cool. I just don't think it's $175 cool.
I like that it comes with a little ship, too. And I love that his name is Dr. Egg.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I was still in the game, I'd get this. No doubt. For that price, I don't know. I mean, it's fine. Whatever.
I feel like
this is probably going to sound super arrogant, and that's fine. I'm so over the price of things. Like, if you have the money and you want to get it, like these G.I. Joe groups. Bobby, I found the worst community from a toxicity standpoint than the Transformers collector.
Yeah, I've heard it's a fucking nightmare over there.
I mean, these people are calling corporate while they're in the stores at Target to get these toys. That's it's mind-boggling. But like, there's so many people like are shaming people who are buying multiples of stuff, or shaming people who have stuff, have gotten it already. And I don't see how you worked around this. This guy, he was like, oh, look at this guy selling these beachheads for $50 on some website. And I'm a super troll. I mean, I'm probably giving Greg for Mercy a run for his money on the troll stuff here. So, like I was like, $20 for the figure, $10 for gas, $10 for time, and then I put, it's only $5 an hour, guys, $50. And then the guy's like, well, I'm sure he has 10 of them. He's going to make $1,000 on these. I'm like, what? I don't know. They're losing their minds over these things. But if I want to buy 10 of fucking Cobra Trooper, that's my prerogative. Don't tell me how to spend my money.
And I mean, like, the thing is, like, more of these are going to be readily available. Like, this Cobra Trooper is going to come packed 1,000 different ways over the next 5 years. Absolutely, it will. This particular one may not, but you're going to be able to buy Cobra Troopers. And if Hasbro has any sense, they'll do like they've done for those AIM Troopers and some of the other stuff, that you can just kind of buy it it comes, in a plastic bag in a little brown box. Yeah. So, like, I was surprised that they didn't announce that already, but I guess they wanted to do this Target nonsense. But getting back to the price, it's $175. Okay, if you want it, go buy it. I mean, if you're collecting $20 toys, this is going to be a lot of money. But if you're already collecting $150 Masterpiece stuff or $400 Masterpiece stuff, and there's not a lot of Masterpiece stuff coming out anymore, right? Yeah, that's true. I guess I'm buying $400. No, I'm not. Let me stop lying. I'm buying $200 to $100 Masterpiece stuff, and I'm buying Hot Toys, and I'm dipping my big toe, and if you thought my fingers were bad, into the quarter scale pool. But like, I'm having a hard time justifying that price. Now, I agree with you. Ultimately, if you like it and you want to spend $175 on it, then do it. And it's your fucking prerogative, and best of luck to you. I agree 100%. I'm just saying, like, for like, I think the question it raises is like, price tag versus character importance versus what it is you're getting, right? So, like, if this was $175 for a Sandstorm, I wouldn't think twice about it. It would have been in the cart long ago. But the fact that it's $175 for an egg with some gimmicks, I'm like, man, like, first, the character's not that important to me. And then what I'm actually buying doesn't feel adequate for the price personally, right? And that's, of course, going to be subjective. Sure. But like, I think that's what it's raising to me, where it's like, man, and now they're going to do two more. You know what I mean? Like, there's 3 main Quintessons. Like, you're looking at a $600 Quintesson collection. Like, nah, homie, I'm good. Well, what's the other two? There's the one with like the tentacle arms, right? Like, he's got like the lizard, like he's got like tentacle arms. He's the one that's like guilty or innocent. Execute them, feed them to the Shoutouts. That one, right? And then there's like the scientist one from season 3 that looks like he's got like a wider head. He's only got a single face. Okay. So I would imagine they're going to run all 3, and plus a lot of people are going to want, because there's 3 judges, right? I think, or is there just one? I can't. In my head, I want to say there's 3. I think there's just. I mean, there's the one with the 5 faces, and then they've got the guy that says you can beg for mercy. It rarely helps, or whatever. Yeah, it sometimes helps, but not often. I mean, what's crazy to me is they brought this out, and no one's done a Masterpiece Shark Takan or Alicon. Mm-hmm. It's just crazy to me. Yeah, I mean, like a defense sword. You know what I mean? Like, right. I'm staying in that pocket. Right. No, I get you. I think that's my prediction. By the way, is that like whatever, like this year's Stunticons is next year's Protectives. Like, I think that's who we're gonna see multiple companies throwing their attempt at the same time and fucking exhausting the fucking community with another. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that we're going to get at least 2, maybe 3 companies announcing a Defensor. And I think MMC has kind of already teased that they're doing one. So that's one. And my guess is we'll see at least one other, if not 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that shit, I'd spend $200 a pop for each one of them. Like, no questions asked. And I know people would complain about the price, but I want them that bad. But that, once again, comes down to, like, character importance and what I'm getting. Like, at least it's going to be a fucking figure and not like a little egg with some faces on it. A good looking one. It looks just like it should.
Right.
But it is what it is, in the great words of Socrates.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. I hear all this rumblings about this G.I. Joe shit and how, like, such a it's like Mos Eisley Cantina over there. It's like such a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
And here's my thing. I think there's 3 types of people that are collecting these figures. There's the action figure goon like myself that's been collecting stuff for years. So yeah, this sucks, but it's pretty much par for the course. There's the 3 3/4 collector who, while they've had their own obstacles over the years, it's never been like this for them because the game wasn't. I mean,
right. The last time they had figures at their fingertips, it wasn't the same game.
It wasn't the same game.
Yep.
And then there's oh, dude, I had G.I. Joes when I was a kid. These look great. What the fuck is going on? I've narrowed it down to those 3 groups. And the interaction between them is quite brutal sometimes.
I'm sure. And I mean, you were ate up. The Target day.
I was pissed. I was super pissed because at that time it was like a month and a half before we were supposed to see these figures. Like the next week they're in stores.
Right.
And if you go out and do your legwork and have friends that can do legwork for you, stuff's acquired, easily acquirable.
Yeah.
But there's so many people that are salty about it. Here's my story from Target today. Blah, 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 manager this. And now they're saying, well, the trick is find somebody not in electronics or toys, preferably a young woman that's working in, say, the baby department that doesn't know any better.
Let me tell you something. Never fucking tell me your story from Target. I'm never going to be interested in it.
Oh, my God. I called somebody a Karen, and they got all defensive. And
yeah. I mean, like, it's like... The thing is like this shit, I think they're still testing the waters with this. I don't know, like, look, this company likes money. Like, they're going to, the shit is going to be out there. I think it's easy to get, like, most of the original wave now, right? Except for, like, Snake Eyes.
I've seen Snake Eyes swinging on pegs. I mean, it's almost all been available on Amazon pretty regularly.
Yeah, I mean, Patience saves
Destro's
pockets,
been the
right?
one that's... Destro's been the only one. But, what? So there's the...
But Destro's newer.
Right. It was. It was packed in that same assortment. The shipper that went out to stores, it was in that shipper.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So the Target wave is, quote unquote out. I think Friday is the actual release. Everything but that Baroness bike has yet to show up.
Yeah, that's the one I'm missing.
Supposedly it's going to be available Friday, and then the next wave of figures has started showing up on top of that, and people are losing their minds about it. Like, yeah, stuff always shows up on the West Coast. It'll make its way across the country.
That's the Cobra, Pimp, Destro.
Cobra Commander, Gung Ho, and the Red Ninja. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And I'm passing on. Like, that's another thing. I'm not a completionist in regards to this line at all. Like, I'm getting
2 of everything.
You are.
Yep.
I'm passing on the Red Ninja. I'm passing on Pimpstro. You know what I mean? Like, I just want the characters that I'm interested in. Once again, I know where this fucking shit is going in my house, and I know the space I'm working with. I gotta tell you, there's something liberating. While it seems confining and constraining, there's something liberating about the point that I'm in right now. Also, where it's like, oh man, I'd love to, but I just can't. I only have this space.
Right. I mean, I have no idea what I'm going to do with these. I don't have anywhere to put them. They're literally sitting on my desk.
How's the glass case going?
How's what?
The glass case going.
What do you mean, how's it going?
I mean, like, you've seemed, like, up in the air about it as far as, like, working it, reworking it.
I mean, I've I like it. I wish that's all I had, to be honest. I wish
Right.
I had a whole wall of those and get rid of these detofs, because you can do, detofs with 6 scale works great, but if you just had a 4 foot glass shelf, it was the same thing. You could put twice as much stuff in it
Right.
because you lose all that space between.
Right.
Like like Dave Matthews says. Yep.
Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to talk. I figured we could have maybe a bit of a diorama discussion later on, but I wanted to say if there was anything else. The NECA shit, like the NECA. I feel like the NECA Turtles is even worse than the GI Joe.
It's right there with it. So, they did do Toka and Razor 2-week pre-order on their website.
Yep.
I know Super Shredder was on their website yesterday.
Correct.
It came in and out of stock. I actually tried to get one just because so many people can't, but I failed miserably. Mainly, I didn't know about it till like 5 minutes after it had dropped.
I have I got the Toka Razor set, even though I'm not doing movie stuff in 6-inch. I just kind of feel like, because they were in the cartoon, they
were they?
Yeah, they were in the cartoon like in one episode or something. They didn't look. They look goofy, but I used to play with because they had like the toys as a kid that were like Toka and Razor. They were like the movie versions.
Yeah,
and I used to just assimilate them into my fucking collection anyway. So I'm just gonna do the same with these two. But I bought them, and then I'm missing the Slash Leatherhead set, and then Gort hit me up because I'm missing the April Foot Soldier set also, and Gort hit me up and he was like, the release date for that, and I was like, fuck, dude. I mean, thanks for the heads up. Don't get me wrong, but like, how many what's the Bear in the Street date and the fucking NECA Turtle Street date and then the fucking Fan First Friday on the, like, how many fucking dates do I got to keep? Do I got to buy a calendar just for this shit?
Yes, you do.
Fucking amazing.
You do.
That's some 2020 shit for figures.
So I'd sent you that video for Dan over at Toy Galaxy's video.
Yes.
It's kind of like, I actually was watching one of his videos this morning and just glanced and saw, damn, I think it's got like 50,000 views. But yeah, you're right. You need, if you were in 2020, a action figure collector, whether it's at retail or just, online stuff, you got to have your shit together. I mean, you've got to know, like, this is on pre-order from this date to this date. If you are a day late, you're, going to pay twice as much on eBay or whatever.
Yep.
If, say you're a Mezco collector, the pre-order goes up on Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. You better be in front of your computer if you want to get that, because more than likely you have less than an hour.
Right.
Sometimes Mythic Legions is even the same way.
Right.
These target quote-unquote exclusives. And then you run into the situation like these Transformer Red figures. I pre-ordered 2, one for me, one for you, for everything. I get an email, which I think everybody that I've spoke to has, that your item has been delayed. We'll let you know if it gets canceled, which totally negates the purpose of pre-ordering.
Correct.
I mean,
I'd rather them just say, look, to push it back a year or whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
At least I have it accounted for.
Yeah. And of course, my dumb luck, I'll forget I have it ordered. It'll come in like next July or something. Well, it's paid for, but, it's still frustrating that I might stumble upon it in a store.
Right.
But who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. But like, it's just like, I don't understand why the scarcity. That's what I don't understand. Like, especially with stuff like the Turtles, which seem to be like rapid, like the fandom is like just rabid for them. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the NECA thing's strange because if you remember, for years it was only box sets at conventions, and
yep.
they couldn't. Maybe I'm wrong here, but it seems like you couldn't even order them online. Like the first couple of sets, like you had to have somebody boots on the ground to go get it.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff, like the movie stuff, you could get online, like because they had the quarter scale stuff, like the 4 ton,
All right, that stuff was even at like FYE and GameStops and stuff.
Yeah.
It's something to do with that crazy licensing, because if you think about it, right now, you've got He-Man. What the hell? You got Super 7 doing the 7-inch turtle line,
the toy stuff, like the original toy line.
Right. You've got NECA doing movie stuff and animated style. And then Playmates still holds the main toy license. So Playmates does the toy aisle per se. And then the rest of this goes to these poorly stocked, poorly maintained sections at Target. And then, Walmart has, if they even have the tags out, one spot on their shelf buried underneath some pops and a bunch of other NECA shit nobody's going to buy.
Yeah.
Spot on the shelf.
So like that, somebody told me this past week that the NECA, there's like a NECA representative.
Yes, I can tell you this. So basically, a lot of things in stores work off of reps. So like NECA, for example, there's rep agencies. So let's say, Bobby, you get a job with this rep agency, and I'll tell you. So in Target, you do the DVDs, and you do or Blu-rays or whatever they are now, and you do the NECA section. I was in the Target, and I knew that. And the guy said, "Yeah, my rep hasn't been by in months." I said, "Man, how do I get that job?" Because he's like, "Well, it's the guy who does our movie, so it's a rep agency." I knew that from like automotive. When I worked in automotive, a lot of the reps you deal with are from a rep agency. So, he'll do your spark plugs, and he'll be your filter guy, and he'll be your battery guy. He's all this stuff. So, and I was told that stuff's in a cage in the back, and you're not allowed to get it. Target employees can't get to it.
Yeah,
I have to wait on a rep. This guy said his rep hasn't been by in months, so there may be a gold mine of NECA sitting back there.
That's crazy, man.
When we were out hunting last week, I had a Target employee stocking the toy aisle try to tell me that those GI Joes weren't out because they were waiting on the rep to come put them out. I'm like, no, dude, you're wrong. That's not how it worked. And then he said, that's how the Nesca stuff.
Nesco.
I'm like, man, you really know your toys, don't you? Let me go ask this young lady working in the bread aisle here.
Yeah. So. We do have a couple of notes. Nothing really crazy, or all of that interesting. But one, I left this in here for you. Rest in peace to Kamala James Harris.
Yep.
What's
Kamala
the deal?
Passed away.
What's the deal with that fella?
So Kamala was he came up in the old territory system. So before Vince McMahon Jr. bought the WWF from his father and then began buying up all the territories. He was a territory wrestler, meaning he would, they'd bring him into Memphis and he'd feud with Jerry Lawler for, 4 or 5 weeks, and they'd have a loser leaves town match or whatever, and he'd lose, and then he'd go work Jim Crockett Promotions in the Carolinas and then go down to Florida and work for Dusty Rhodes. Well, it became a character for WWE, and I never met Kamala. I believe I think he was from Mississippi, if I'm not mistaken. But he was quite the character. He filled out the WWE, WWF, batshit crazy character list they had in the early 80s and on into the late 80s and 90s. So always sad to see somebody go, but these old time wrestlers aren't in good health. They did not take care of themselves in most cases. I don't know specifics about him, but another one gone. Yeah, he did slam Andre. He did slam Andre the Giant years before Hulk Hogan did it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And then also this shit with Mulan. So Mulan is going to go to Disney Plus.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up. I want to talk about this.
Let's do it.
So it's $30. I guess Disney Plus is rolling out a premium service. I remember so long ago, 4 years ago in March of 2020, I want to say we had a generic conversation
about this,
around this happening.
Yep.
So let's price this out. Bobby, how many people are in your household?
5.
Okay. How much is a movie ticket for an adult?
$14.
Okay, so we're 28.
Yep.
And kids' tickets are,
I don't know, 12, 10, let's say.
Okay, so that's 30. And I have popcorn at the movies,
Yep.
And that's what people are like, oh God, I'm not paying. I'm not. It's It's the same as paying the $20 in the streaming service, except it's a fucking Disney movie, and you know it's going to be worth the money.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you, man. Like it's you're saving so much money. You get the comfort of your own home. You know,
That's right.
You're paying the premium price for the, you know, and if you don't want to, patient saves pockets. Once again, it will come out.
Right. You can wait.
Yep.
Or, and you can, I bet you can pause it and go to the bathroom too, not miss anything.
Yeah. You know, it's like, not that this is the same conversation, but it kind of ties into, I saw people getting upset about BBTS charging $500 for the Sentinel or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, dude, they're doing you a solid.
Exactly. They're literally putting their money out there.
Yeah. You know, it's like that's my thing is like, I'm okay with spending money if I know that what I'm spending it for and it makes sense to me, you know? So like,
Yep.
if it's a new movie, I get to watch in the comfort of my own home for a fucking third of the price it would be at the movie theater to take my family. I can eat whatever the fuck I want. Like you said, I can pause it and go to the bathroom. I can start it at 7 if I wanted to start at 7. I can start at 6 if I want to start at 6.
That's right.
It's fucking my prerogative.
You could probably smoke cigarettes while you watched a premiere movie even.
Exactly.
Or whatever you wanted to smoke.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, nobody's going to be harassing you. You know, you could get frisky with a wife without having to worry about maybe if the kids aren't there. But, you know, I mean, I don't know. I think we're going to see a hybrid model eventually of, okay, here it is in the theater, or you can watch it at home for $50. And we've talked about this before. We literally predicted this.
Yep.
So any of our Nerd Rage family out there that wants to do the groundwork, the research to find the clip,
yeah.
where we predicted the future.
Dude, and you know what my other question is? So, first of all, what's the splits, right? Because, like, what does Disney Plus have to share now? Nothing. There's no money to be shared. So, were they making, you know, were they, for a family of 5 to go to the movie theater to see Mulan, what were they making about $30 from that? You know, and then add that on top of like how this movie does, like how they judge the fucking sales and money made. Like, let's say this fucking shit blows like all the previous live action, because I wouldn't say there's any more hype behind this movie than any other Disney live action, and arguably I'd say there's less. So like, if this fucking blows the doors off of their previous live action releases, how does that change how Disney does fucking business in the future?
Right. So let's just do some math here.
Especially in a year where they've taken huge financial losses.
It is, correct. So Disney Plus, this is from May, 54.5 million subscribers. And let's just multiply that times 30. Hang on a sec. I'm bad at the calculators on the computer. 54,500,000 times 30, and let's just conservatively say half the people on. Now let's say half the people on there get it. It's $32 million.
So I mean, like, you know, that's going to open up another numbers discussion for me, because I'm like, you know, these movies, like, if they do in the box office, you know, like a movie has to do like $100 million in the box office opening weekend to be a success for these big blockbuster movies, right?
Right.
But like, that's the ticket sale total. You know what I mean? So like, what are the splits?
Right.
You know, and that's like, that's going to be an interesting kind of like Forbes.com article to read.
Actually, Bobby, I'm very wrong. I'm sorry. If half the people in Disney Plus order this, it's 817 million. I didn't press the right button on the calculator.
See, that, I mean, that could change. That number could change the dynamics. And you said that was half, right?
That's at 50%. I mean, even if you divide that out again, divide that by 2 again, if a quarter of the people order it, that's $400 million.
Yeah, I mean, that could change the way that all of this shit is going to happen. You know,
the budget for that movie was $200 million. So I don't know but here's the deal. At that point, is there value in, you know, putting up billboards that people aren't driving by every day? Is there value in putting up a Times Square ad that costs who knows how much per minute.
Right.
That nobody's going to see.
Right.
I mean, you own half the fucking TV stations. Yep. I'm sure that Disney gets a discounted rate for advertising on ABC and ESPN.
Right. And look, I mean, when you're talking about Disney, the numbers always get a little screwy because, like, I remember having this conversation about Solo. Like, Solo was a financial failure in the box office, but it's like the movie didn't lose them any money. Like, and I used to have this conversation, like, yeah, like, yes, the movie cost $100 to make and it made $80 in the movie theater, but you're not taking into account every fucking lunchbox and pair of socks and blanket and fucking everything else that was affiliated with the marketing of this fucking movie to make money. Like Mulan could do 400, could double its money in terms of what it put into it, and then but what is the merchandising? The merchandising is usually where a majority of the money comes from anyway. So it's like, right. And you're not splitting it with fucking anybody. Ticket sales, that's $400 million in pocket.
Here's an interesting piece. As long as you maintain your Disney Plus subscription, you will only have to pay $30 once to watch the film as many times as you like.
Oh, shit.
If you cancel your subscription and resubscribe, you'll have to repurchase the movie. So they're basically negating.
You're not even renting it; you're owning it.
You own it, yeah. And there's been lots of services like that, And I think like if you have a digital download code, it's kind of the same way. But like it says, if you cancel, you'll have to repurchase.
Right, but just don't cancel.
Yeah. So I mean, bring on Black Widow.
Fuck dude.
I don't see another way.
Like, I mean, that changes think about the dynamics of that, like, socially, right? Like, when we're allowed to be social again. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, Black Widow at my house, Eternals at your house.
Right.
And then, like, you fucking cook a dinner, you hang out, you have some drinks, and then you all go watch the fucking movie together.
Right. That would make me buy a big projector, put it in the backyard.
Something crazy happens, you pause it and run it back.
Exactly.
Did he just fucking say that? Run it back?
Yeah, put the subtitles on. What did he say? Oh, dude, it'll take us 8 hours to watch the fucking Marvel movie.
But I mean, I'm dude, sign me up for this life.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Listen, my kids have memories of going to the movie theater, and I definitely do. So
yeah, I'm good.
We'll buy those old timey popcorn machines, put in the corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literal theater experience.
And then I think we only have one more note, and that is how are they going to do this? So, Blazing Saddles, Cats, Dogs animated movie.
What the fuck? I didn't read deep into it. I saw the headline.
So let me read this. This is from Comic Book Resources. It says, Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles is considered a film classic, even though it stirred up some controversy over the years. Now the film is being retold in an entirely new medium as well as an entirely new genre. The Los Angeles film company Align is helping develop an animated film titled Blazing Samurai. The film takes the basic premise of Blazing Saddles and transplants it to the samurai era. The story follows a dog named Hank who dreams of becoming a samurai. When he becomes in charge of protecting Kakamucho, he learns that the town is populated entirely by cats. And it says here, we've always been passionate about animation and are thrilled to be taking part in Blazing Samurai. With the arrival of COVID-19 across Europe and North America, our team came together to shift our strategy to meet the limitations of the filmmaking landscape, blah, blah, blah. So... There's a couple things I want to say about this. One, it'll be interesting to see the metaphors that they use for the racial elements of that movie. Two, I heard on HBO Max, I believe, Blazing Saddles it's streamable. And in order to stream it, you have to watch this 3-minute explanation of it before it starts.
Really?
Yep. That prepare yourself. There's some racial insensitivity coming your way. But be aware that these people that are racist in this movie are also the bad guys, and like all of this fucking explanation. Now, there's also some homophobic stuff in that movie, as there was in most movies during that age.
Right.
And I don't think they make any clear, notable explanations for that group either. Or unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever the case may be, they don't single them out as well. I don't know how I feel about everything being needed to like explained to me as a viewer.
Right.
Like
But at the same time, I don't understand why would you have all the properties that are out? Why not just take a? I mean, are there such strong elements of storytelling in the Blazing Saddles?
No, but I mean, it's fucking great, that movie.
I know, but do you need to take elements from that to tell a story about cats and dogs and samurai?
That's fair.
It's just so bizarre.
That's fair. That's
It'd
fair.
be like, hey, I'm going to make an animated series about cockroaches based loosely on Menace to Society. And I need the Hughes brothers to sign off on this. What the fuck?
Yeah. It does seem crazy. I mean, it seems crazy to me. Like, I don't even know what Hollywood studio, I mean, I guess Align, I never heard of them, but like, back something like this in today's world, where just everything is, very sensitive. It seems. I listen, I plug them all the time, but like I'm a huge fan of this fucking Fifth Column podcast, and like they are talking about one of their guys or one of their friends is starting some other podcast about just getting like the stories of people, and you can stay anonymous, but that tell their story of like sensitivity training that they've had to receive for their job. So you can be anonymous about you can be anonymous about your job. You just have to tell the story of the training.
Can I tell you a story?
Sure.
About training?
Sure.
I had to sit through yesterday a 2-hour camera on mandatory Zoom call about inclusion and diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, why? It was a lot of beating around the bush, I'll say that.
Yeah.
In a very corporate manner.
Yeah, I mean, because people are fucking terrified, of like saying anything, like.
Well, they're just checking a box. That's what
Yeah.
it is. They're just checking a box.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's basically, unfortunately, that's what it's come down to, and I worry about stuff like that. Not in the sense that we shouldn't be respectful of people's differences. Do you know what I mean? But like, you shouldn't need a fucking job to teach you that. You should have had parents that taught you that. But neither here nor there. I guess you should have a job where you get fucking training on how to just be honest, be polite, have fucking manners. But like, also about like, I worry about us as a culture, as a society, having these challenges that we're facing socially and differences. And many of them, in my opinion, are cultural. And not being able to talk to one another about them. That's what worries me, is that we get to a place where nobody is comfortable having a conversation regarding the things that are actually challenging the society.
Right.
But I'm curious to see what they do with Cats and Dogs and Samurai. And I probably would be interested in this if it wasn't based on Blazing Saddles as well, if it was just about
so weird.
Cats and Dogs and Samurai.
It's the strangest thing. I
agree. So that's it for notes, and I don't think we have any questions. Oh, you know what? We may have gotten a question. Sometimes I struggle a bit with keeping track of like PMs and stuff that are questions, because I screen shoot it. And
yeah, I mean, the only way to do it is to keep it all in one place, and if it comes from another, just screenshot it and send it there.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep track of multiple angles of anything like that.
And then after we cover this, we'll maybe have a brief like diorama discussion just about like our process, perhaps. Let's see. Okay, so question for Chris. How do you feel about the new Mezco 112 John Wick that just shipped out to everyone? I would love to hear your take on it.
Well, so let me put an asterisk next to everyone because I'll get mine today. So I ordered, and this is very strange for them. I ordered 4 of them because I knew it was something I was very interested in, and I also knew it would probably be a pretty hot commodity. Well, the scuttlebutt about it is it does not look like the prototype images. It does not look like what was shown at Toy Fair in February. The head sculpts aren't. It's got a case of the angles. Do you know what I mean? It's like it looks great from some angles, and some other angles it's like, what is this? But it's got like a clean face, and it's got like a battle damage face, which he's basically, it's based on the second movie. So the first, he's almost got his hair slicked back. And listen, Keanu's in his 50s. Nature hasn't been good to him, mostly, but he's, a little thin in the front. Most of the time his hair is like down in his face.
Right.
So it's slicked back a little bit. In the shot they take it from, it's one of the movie posters where he's getting fit, like measured by the tailor.
And the tailor is like a known character in the movies, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily. Actually, fun fact, the tailor in the movie is the costume designer for all the movies.
How appropriate.
How appropriate. And it's actually his first acting role. But nonetheless, in that particular poster, his hair's slicked back. And that's apparently where they pull this image from. It's not double jointed in the elbows.
Yeah, he talked about that in his question. He said, wondering why they didn't go with double jointed elbows. You would think they would. That would be a standard for all action figure companies by now, but isn't always the case.
So there's a couple things there, and maybe a little inside baseball here, but that's fine. A lot of the time, the decisions on these figures that are not from comic properties is a lot of the decisions are made by the studios. Mm-hmm. They may not like the way the jacket looks when he does a double jointed elbow.
Right.
Because the thing people don't realize, these suits that these guys wear when they're fighting, I mean, like physically like a 3-piece suit, that thing is gusseted so much that you can't see to give the mobility to do all these crazy moves. If you go to Men's Warehouse and buy a suit and then try to do, some Dante BJJ in the floor, you're probably going to tear it. I'm just going to give you a heads up. Probably going to rip the shoulder seams out and the crotch is gone. So guess what? These suits aren't gusseted for your action figure pleasure. But saying that to say the double jointed elbows, it comes down to the studio a lot of the time. It's their decision, final approval on this stuff. At the same time, they approve some of this other stuff that comes, like the diamond figures that have come out for John Wick. It's nothing like anybody. I haven't gotten in hand. I'm just relaying the information. I assumed it was going to be a single jointed elbow based on the fact that it's a suit body. I already have stuff ready to swap out to get double jointed elbows. That's another reason I wanted multiples, because I knew I was going to do some other stuff with it. So I'll be able to give an honest answer to this next week, because mine are out for delivery right now. They started shipping 2 weeks ago. I normally get stuff the next day from Mezco because it ships out of New York. We're in Maryland. I don't know what happened here. A lot of people's are mine came out of Washington State.
Wow.
I guess they have a fulfillment distribution point out there. So my normal 1-day shipping took basically taking a week. So I'm excited to get it, even with all the nasty talk about it. I'm looking forward to tearing them apart and having some fun with it. But give a better assessment next week if we remember.
Sure. And I think that's it for questions. He wishes everybody well, and he asked about the red line, but we've already kind of answered that with it being canceled or delayed, I should say.
Postponed.
So let's just have a little bit of diorama talk.
Okay.
Talk to me about, and I'll compare, but talk to me about your process of getting started with a project. So mine obviously is a lot of digital based stuff. So I have to, design. Let's say I'll just kind of give the background on this mythic stuff I'm doing. I had originally done a project first part of the year for Megalopolis. It was this absolutely huge castle thing. It was almost 4 feet long and fully assembled. Giant door at one end, giant window at the other. All these windows with these
archways that went all the way across, and a ceiling, floor done up to the nines.
Right.
I had a lot of people hit me up. It's like, hey, how much would this be? And I told them the price, and they're obviously not gonna. They didn't want to pay that. So, I mean, just shoot you straight. It was It was $1,200 if you want the whole thing.
Right.
I mean, it's a huge amount of work. It shipped in two. It cost $200 to ship it. On top of that, when we shipped it out, it's huge.
See, I want to get into that too. How do you gauge price? I'm only asking because I'm working on a Jabba's Palace, as you well know, for Joe B. And I had to get him on the phone to see like what do you want to do? Like, what's all the stuff you want to do? And then like the more we started talking about it, the more I was like, man, what do I charge for this shit? Because it's starting to sound like it's a lot of time.
I've come to the conclusion that I charge what I want, and if people don't want to pay it, then I'll move on. And there's a fine line. So I've had this conversation with some of our other friends that have gotten into creating and selling lately. So let's say you're selling something for $45 and somebody else is selling it for $15. That's basically the same thing, but horribly inferior.
Right.
I sometimes think if you sold yours for $60 instead of $45, you'd get more business.
Huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like that false value.
Right.
I look at a project and I gauge how much time, how much resources I'm going to have to use, how much, if it's an original design, how much time I put in designing it versus if it's a screen accurate piece, how close is this inspired by this, or does this need to look just like this down to each little doorknob?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The other way I like to price stuff, and I don't necessarily take, hey, will you build this for me, Diorama, commissions anymore. Basically, we do these pre-orders, and I work with a couple companies. But the way my best solution to that is, what's your budget, and how big does it need to be? And yeah, oftentimes, well, you know, I got about $60, and I want it to fill up my entire bathroom. Okay, well, obviously, we're not going to be able to work together.
Right.
If it's something realistic, they're like, well, I want to spend $200. Okay, this is what I could give you. I can give you A, B, and C for $200. If you want to spend $250, I can give you A, B, C, and D. If you want to spend $300, I can give you A, B, C, D, E, F, and G.
Right.
So I always try to gauge what that person was comfortable spending versus the work that I was going to have to put into it.
Right.
And that to me came to the best conclusion most of the time.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to do business.
Yeah, and then you can base the amount of detail that you put in it on the price. Right. So if hey, for this amount of money that you mentioned, I'll do just the floor is just going to be like, it's going to be a concrete floor with a couple grid like lines on it. Basically, I'm going to draw 6 lines on this and paint it gray.
Right.
Or if you want to spend another $50, I'll do a full plank wooden floor.
Right. Right.
I always like to give people options, and that's something I picked up from my wife really, because I used to be just like, no, it's this much and you get that.
Yeah, no, I dig that. All right, so not to get you off track, we were talking about coming up with a design. It was $1,200, but people didn't want to spend that much money for something, which is understandable. So you were thinking about creating something that was a little bit more palatable.
Right. So the modular idea came to mind. To do to build this, to basically build something similar. I didn't want to build the exact thing, because when I do projects like that for people, I don't necessarily want to come right back behind it and offer the exact same thing. So I tweaked the design a bit, and I created that first window piece. So I try to find inspiration in media. Like the original inspiration for that hallway was literally, I was struggling to come up with the idea for that. And Lord of the Rings was just on TV one day. It was on TNT one day. Mm-hmm. I walked upstairs and I saw this scene with this big hall and these arches and these big windows and a doorway, and I'm like, that's it. It hit me that hard. I went right then, sat down, and started designing. So when I design, I'm using software. So, and I have to think about it. Basically, it's almost like slicing things with a 3D printer. Do you understand how that works at all?
No.
Okay. So let's say those those columns I printed for you, right?
Uh-huh.
So we've got the image. Somebody created that in some software, right? So you could spin it around, look at it from all angles.
Right.
You load it in your software for the 3D printer, and it's going to slice it into layers.
Okay, I get you.
So it's slicing it into in like those columns, which were like 8-9 inches tall. Mm-hmm. We're talking about 0.2 millimeter layers. So it takes 5 layers to do 1 millimeter. And that's how that does it. So if you think about, like, generically speaking, I'm using 1-inch foam. So I have to in my head, slice this stuff into 1-inch pieces. So let's say that doorway. I knew, all right, the back piece is going to be what holds the door. So I have to figure out the door shape, which is not an easy thing to do, but I got it to work. Figure out the door shape, and then I'm going to do a 6 millimeter depth, because that's the depth of the door material, 6 millimeter depth relief cut around that.
Right.
To create my door frame. And then the next one, I want to come out X amount of millimeters, and I want it to have an offset depth, and it stacks up almost like a staircase.
Right.
All through the 4 pieces. So now once I get the 4 pieces, I put them together, and my idea comes to fruition. So a lot of the time I'll see something, and I'll rough it out. Like, Kelly and I do that. So we had a project recently that has yet to be shown, so I can't really discuss it. So we're just going to say it's a building, just for simplicity's sake. Uh-huh. But a very specific building. And Kelly is great at the finishing part of it. She's great at the idea part of it. She doesn't know how to do the software part of it.
Right.
And her and I, we've been together for a very long time. We almost speak different languages than English. I don't know if that makes sense, but we have a hard time sometimes communicating ideas to each other. Mm-hmm. So showing that idea a lot of the time makes a lot more sense. So she scratch built out of foam what we were then going to cut on the machine.
Right.
So it wasn't great. We threw it away when we were done.
Yeah, I told her just like a rough concept, like a proof of concept.
She literally mocked up the whole thing. And now that I think about it, we could have done it in half scale instead of doing the whole thing. But
right.
You know, I knew the generic wall shapes, but the details and stuff she wanted. So she roughed it out, and then I took that, I did some measurements, I cleaned it up, I put it in the software, and I cut it out on the machine. So it was a lot more precise from a build standpoint, and then she weathered the hell out of it. I'm pretty sure you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah. I know exactly which one.
It has not been publicly shown by the client, so I'm not at liberty to talk about it yet. So that's my design process. I take an inspiration, or sometimes I'll have a completely unique idea. But most of the time it's an inspiration.
I got you.
And that's how it works for me. Now, what you do is very well. The Star Wars stuff is very scene specific. A lot of it. So I know you try to capture a lot of the details, but I will say your urban sprawl stuff, I've been really impressed with that lately.
Oh, I appreciate it. So my thing is like from mine, it's like I'm trying to make it unique, right? So that not everything looks the same. So you have like a different location and environment for most shelves. And I'm taking into account the exact amount of figures that I'm trying to display. And like some of them are like the city one that I did recently with the 2 buildings and the little alleyway between the 2. I wanted to do like a city scene, and I wanted to do an alley. But the problem that I realized with doing a lot of the city stuff for these fucking legends is that there's not a lot of height options. Like everything is pretty fucking flat. Like it's a flat street. You can get up one layer on a sidewalk and maybe a couple steps into a building. But most buildings don't even have steps that go into them in most fucking major cities. Do you know what I mean?
Right. They might have like one step off a curb.
Correct. So like that became like a challenge for me to overcome because the main objective is to display the figures. So I have to work shit like that into shelves that don't have a lot of figures. Whereas sometimes the stuff, so that one, like the actual physical diorama becomes more important. Now I'm just working on this one for my Marvel Legends villains, and it's there's a fuck ton of these figures that I got to fit into this shelf. So this one is way more functional than it is decorative. Do you know what I mean? But it's like also trying to find like something that fits in that's also unique and a bit different from the rest, but will do the same function. So a lot of times I sit down. I usually use graph paper because I'm always working in a billy. A big billy's 30 inches long and it's about 10 inches deep, so to speak, and then the height varies based on where you have your shelf, right? And I map out a rough idea of where I want stuff. Sometimes I do that. I have to do that when it's like super specific for steps and stuff in order to get the most bang for my buck display-wise. Other times I just fuck around with shit if I know I have the room to fuck around with shit. If I'm like, look, this shelf only needs to house these 10 figures and that's it. Then I have all the fucking leeway in the world to fuck around with.
You can put more tchotchkes and greeblies in there without having to worry about the space.
Exactly. And that's where my process starts, is trying to find out what's going to be a unique environment, how many figures do I need to display in it, and how can I display them effectively and efficiently in this environment. And that's where everything starts for me. Now, production-wise for you, like actual getting, physical stuff done, talk me through that process of yours.
It's some long, hot days. I mean, we're cranking out units here. So having the new machine obviously will add another layer to that. But for example, I had a little bit of time yesterday after my work day was over. I had something going on last night, but in between there, I had a couple hours. I'm like, all right, I'm going to run. So I was running both of my machines at the same time. So a lot of the time, it depends. We try to do batches of stuff like those doors. We did batches of 6. We did a couple batches of 12. We don't have the room to do that many at once. So doing 6 was a sweet spot. So I'll just give you the way that the process went from on the doorway that we just finished. So I do all the machine work. Nobody else in the house, unfortunately, is comfortable running machines.
Cleared on that unit?
Yeah, they don't have their
certification,
CBC Crashbox Custom certification.
Right.
I mean, there's moving parts and things that can rip your freaking knuckles off, I guess, if you wanted to. And I've never actually. I touched a spinning bit with a nail. I call them a nail one time. Luckily, not a skin. And I knew it, but lesson learned.
Right.
And it's very loud. I mean, I've got 2 shop vacs running, and these routers aren't actually that very loud. It's the vacuums mostly that are loud. So I wear noise canceling headphones when I'm in there, because I used to come up to the living room after working down there all day and have to turn the TV. Say we listen to it on like 10 to 15 normally. I have it on 35 because I can't hear it. So I'm like, okay, I got to do better here.
Right,
so
right.
I wear those noise canceling joints all the time. So I'll cut the material. I will normally, like on the doorway, I'll glue all the foam together and have it ready. And there's the way that was done, had all those steps on the side that led out, not steps, but I guess levels. I would pre-paint some of that as we were assembling it, because it was getting to a point where when she was spraying it, so much paint was having to go in that space that it was creating drips and stuff. So I was pre-painting a lot of the little nooks and crannies, getting that all glued together. The PVC door, the door is made out of PVC. So the door frame and the door comes out on one sheet, and it's all tabbed in. We use tabs to hold stuff onto the piece it came out of, just so stuff doesn't flop around and get ruined. So I would hand paint those doors using several stippling and dry brushing techniques. Actually, I thought about this after we were done. I'm like, it would have been cool to set each one of these up and take a picture of every single door, because they're all a little different.
Right.
But you think about that on door number 80, right? So I would paint them. Let's see. For those, it was a dark brown base, and then a mix of territorial beige and that dark brown base as a second stippling coat, and then the territorial beige by itself. After that, it got a translucent yellow airbrush, a translucent red airbrush. So there's 5 layers of paint on those doors. Then they go outside and get clear coated. Once that's done and all the foam's together, Kelly does our painting on those. So they get black base, front, back, sides, everything. You don't see any pink foam on our stuff. Then it gets 2 different grays sprayed, and then a dry brush of that granite gray we were having such a hard time finding.
Right.
So at that point, it comes back to me. I airbrush a translucent burnt sienna and a translucent black or smoke gray around the edges on the bottom. Then it goes outside to clear coat. It comes in. Kelly then begins the assembly of the doors, which actually have a pretty cool time lapse of her doing one of those. It takes about 20 minutes to put one door together.
Wow.
And that's installing the hinges and everything, getting everything in. Then it comes back to me, and I put on. Oh, I forgot about this part. The 3D printer, the resin printer, prints the little lion heads, and actually had Mason doing that. He was manning that, washing them, and bringing it in. So I'd have to put all those on a piece. I was using blue tack, putting them on a piece of cardboard. The door handles were actually part of the door cut, so I pop all those out, clean those up. All that would go outside and get painted, and I let that sit overnight just because that gold paint was kind of, I don't know, I didn't like it. Okay. It was kind of had a little tackiness to it. So those come in after that. After Kelly's done with putting the doors together, I put all the hardware on the door handles and the lion heads, and then it comes back to her, and she had come up with a great system for packing them. We put a little ribbon around it that said, "Don't open these backwards. They don't open backwards. It'll break." And packed it all up, and away it went. And I forgot about the floors. So the floors are cut with the router, and then sprayed with 2 different colors and a texture paint. And then those are all individually wrapped with a label on them. And everything's boxed up and weighed. And then I create the shipping labels, and Mason takes them to the post office. It's exhausting.
That's interesting to hear about the layers of paint involved in that, because you don't necessarily see it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Which is probably the intention anyway. Right.
Sure.
One thing I wanted to add on to my design process, for lack of a better term, is that like another thing that's important to me is that when possible, I like for the setting of the diorama to almost be a character in and of itself. Like, like if you take my Star Wars stuff, for instance, I want to do a diorama to kind of house some of the video game stuff, the Empire characters specifically.
Okay.
And I'm like, man, like what do I do? I do this in another fucking gray walled base, you know?
Right.
But like then I'm like, well, no, because in the video game, they're on Kashyyyk for one of the levels, and I don't have Kashyyyk represented in my shelves yet. So that for me becomes like a twofer. Like I get to have this planet, which is now like part of my collection that I didn't have prior, and it gets to house the figures. There's another thing that I take into account. Same with like the Marvel Legends. Like I want the X Mansion. I want the, some of the other things that I've got coming down the pipe. Like I wanted that particular building or whatever to be present.
Right.
So that's important for me too. When it comes to my stuff, like my cutting and stuff is just, sometimes it takes a lot, sometimes it takes a little. It all depends on what I'm doing. And once I've got it kind of roughed out, that's when I usually take it and start fine tuning all of the texture elements of it. I usually give it to Laura. She bases almost everything, with the exception of the panels that I do around the walls. And like the floor, like the frame of it, if you will. She bases everything, and then I texture, or like, then we usually go to a wash, and then we go to some sort of accent paint, usually, whether it be a dry brush or a speckling kind of effect or whatever the case may be. It's funny because the only paint that she'll do really is basing. But like I appreciate the fuck out of it because I hate basing shit. Like I don't mind the detail work, but I hate like the monotony of just basing something.
Right. That's yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, we're having the air gun, the pneumatic paint, definitely changed that for us. Just being able to blast it out.
Yeah. And what paint do you use for that? Do you use like
Watered down acrylics.
really?
Yeah, actually, we're about out. We had come across a cache of 70% alcohol. And cutting that black paint, I mean, it dries so quick because it literally evaporates. So all you're leaving behind is the paint pigment.
Huh.
You can do that with an airbrush, but certain paints act different. So like the black paint works fine with it, but the grays clump for some reason. So it's something to do with the pigmentation. So and actually we use two different guns. So the black goes through what's called a touch-up gun because it doesn't clog. Right. And the big paint gun we have has a little filter in it, and that filter clogs up with just the black. So we basically have a gun just for doing black base painting, and then another one to do the other colors.
That's interesting. Yeah. So she bases it, and then I gotta look into those guns. That shit could save me a fucking ton of time. Because I'll be honest with you, I feel like I spend the most time waiting for base coats to dry and washes to dry. That's where I lose all of my time.
The base coat, that's it's been a learning process, and Kelly, I used to always just sit in there while she painted. I don't know why. I felt like I needed to be in there, and I didn't one day. And she's like, "I see you finally left me the fuck alone so I can paint." Right. Like, what are you talking about? Well, you always just sit in here. It's like, I thought you wanted my help. She's like, "No, go do something else." Okay. Yeah. So that's been nice. It's been nice, and I guess I was talking to someone else about workload, and somebody was talking about opening a factory to do their projects. And like, my problem is I don't trust people to do things the way I want them done. I said I just recently let go of painting and let my wife take care of it. So that was a big thing for me to be able to let go of that. Yeah.
So then, then after she bases it, I usually wash it, and then after we wash, unless she won't wash it because she's always concerned about the water to paint level, and I think she thinks I'm some sort of chemist, where I'm usually just like, oh, this is probably fine, like, but I wash it, and then either dry brush it or speckle it or some sort of after effect, like this marbling thing I've been doing, some sort of after finishing touch on it, and then I usually fucking glue it together, or glue pieces of together that I haven't been able to glue together yet, and then kind of get to quote unquote insert it. And that for me is like the dopamine drip, like putting the figures in it, and seeing just the difference, man, between like characters that were just standing on a black shelf for fucking years, and now, like, not only are they in some sort of an environment, not only is that environment interesting to look at and more kind of engaging and also encompassing, but it's also like, even though there's more to see environmentally, there's also more to see of the figures because you're raising them up above other ones and dropping them down below other ones, and et cetera. And that for me is the payoff. In a big way. Let me ask you a question. Why are you partial to Walmart paints in terms of the acrylics? Like, because we both use acrylics, and I tend to go Michaels more so. So I'm curious. I want to talk about all of the paint options and why we choose them.
The reason that I'm not necessarily partial, but this color scheme we've started on this, set is based on the Walmart colors, and there's some charts online that compare the colors, but like that granite gray.
Yeah.
That Michaels doesn't sell that. Yep. They don't sell anything comparable.
Yep, I agree.
So, I've got paint from Michaels, I got paint from Hobby Lobby, I got paint from Walmart. Excuse me, Plaid makes the majority of the paint.
Correct.
That's out there. So a lot of it is, very similar, if not the exact same thing. I use spray paint on PVC often, just rattle can stuff. Rust-Oleum. I only fuck with Rust-Oleum spray paint because every Krylon bottle I get, or can I get rather, I might get one use out of it, and the nozzle clogs or some bullshit happens, and that's almost every time that I use it. So I use Rust-Oleum gray. I use Rust-Oleum. Some of their texture paints, browns, khakis. I mean, I've done a ton of stuff with just rattle cans.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean,
and then you can go over those with acrylics.
Yeah. I mean, like it just as a base coat option.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I get you. I also want to say that usually before, so after I wash and then do the accent paints, that I usually do a airbrush shading number on it afterwards. And also I've started doing, because my shit like kept getting shitty, even though I do a pretty thorough job of cleaning after every fucking use. I now run I'll wash out my airbrush, and then I'll fill it with water, run water through it once. Then I'll fill it with a 50-50 cut of lacquer thinner and water, like what you had me order to clean at the time. I'll run that through it once, and then I'll run another thing of water through it once. And I've only had to like take it apart to clean an element of it like once or twice ever since I started doing that. But it is like the airbrush, it adds a level of paint to that shit that you just can't replicate any other way. But it is it is the least, because of the amount of maintenance that goes into it. It is one of the least enjoyable things for me.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'll tell you, like a chore.
So obviously there's higher end paints you can get. A lot of people, use higher.
I do.
Yeah.
I use Vallejo paint on pretty much everything.
Have you done anything with the transparent paints? Have you tried that stuff?
I have not.
It's magical, man. I mean, it sounds silly, but like I was doing the Popeye doc, for example. Like, you do a couple browns and maybe a lighter color to give it some texture. I'm like, I don't even remember why I thought this was I shot some yellow translucent over it, and it was magic.
I wonder. I would need to see some before and after just to get an idea of what that even means. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to get back to the acrylics real quick, I agree. Granite gray. So I think, let me say this. I think Walmart has the best color selections, like that Walmart brand, the Apple Barrel, territorial beige, granite gray. There's also another. There's like a pavement gray that I use a lot. That's almost like a black, but it's not.
Yes. Yeah. It's just pavement. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I love that fucking color. Burnt umber is another one that I love from Walmart. But I find that I'm partial to the Michaels, which I usually use golden brown, khaki, suede, tan. I use a lot of those. Deep gray, and dark gray. Is that possible? Maybe. I find that they go on better. Like I need less coats of the Michael shit than I do of the Walmart shit. But
it's possible.
But I prefer the palette. Levels. But I prefer the palette, the Walmart palette over the Michaels palette. And then I had that other kind that fucking AC Moore used to offer. Norma's, is it some shit like that?
Yes.
So that shit to me is the highest caliber paint.
Really?
Yeah, of the three. But like, you know what I don't like about it?
What?
It stinks.
So I've noticed I was talking about the pigmentations mixing.
Yeah.
If you want a flavorful, if you want a bouquet of paint smells, the oranges and yellows from Apple Barrel have the most pungent odor. Oh my gosh! And it's you wouldn't. I mean, I could pick it out. If you did a blind smell test of paints, I would. It's orange and that's sunflower or daffodil or whatever. It's just something to do with the pigmentation, I'm sure.
I had this one color. It's like I think it's called Jean, like JEAN, like a pair of jeans.
Yeah.
And it's like a blue gray color. It's beautiful. And I got it from AC Moore, and I have like 4 or 5 of them. I'm happy I have that many because that shit went out of business, right?
Oh yeah.
But like whenever I use it, I like paint it outside because it just smells like fucking shit. Like it's like something about it is like my brain is telling me like, don't be breathing this shit in. Like it's that sort of primal kind of effect. To close it out, let me ask you one question, and I'll recount my story as well. But how did you get started doing it? Like getting into it?
I had. I've always tried to. I've always liked to have some sort of something other than work, I guess. And the toy hobby had taken the place of, I was playing a lot of basketball at one point.
Right.
And then, of course, I did the wrestling thing for a long time, which, side note, I don't know how publicly available it'll be, but it looks like my wrestling group promotion that I ran back in the early 2000s, we're going to do a Zoom reunion.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think we've got about 20 people that want to hop on. So anyways,
Cool.
I've always tried to have something other than, work. And toy hobby had picked that up, but I guess at a certain point I was just like, okay, I'm getting these toys. I had seen people start to do dioramas. I had Dan, Harvey Dan,
Mm-hmm.
he had started making them, and he made me a couple, and I was looking at the way he made them, and I started, just looking at some of the ACBA groups and the die structures, and I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. And for some reason, I was just adamantly against the foam. I don't know why. I was like, I don't know. I guess I thought it just felt cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So I had gotten some wood, and I lived near my parents at the time, and my dad's got a huge wood shop. Screwing around, tried to make a couple things. Finally got some foam and started chopping away on it, and I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I remember actually, I just threw it away the other day. The first thing I made was like a loading dock. I was working for Pet Boys at the time in Little Rock, Arkansas. I was at the store there. We were just doing the store walk, and it's like, oh, that's a cool load. So I took a picture of the loading dock and did my best to replicate it. And I did. It was okay. It wasn't great. I learned a lot doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It took me. I remember Mason's like, yeah, I remember you were working on that forever. You worked on it for like 3 months. Like, yeah, I did. But, I started doing the little Autobot and Transformers, Autobot and Decepticon stuff, and that kind of took off, and was doing those Detolf backers we had figured out how to do the logos. I was doing them by hand at first, and then we bought that Cricut, the vinyl cutter machine. I was cutting them out, and, those logos are, it's cereal boxes stacked. So, like the one you have with the Decepticon logo.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bunch of cereal box cardboard stacked together. So
That's crazy.
It is crazy. It's crazy the things you figure out how to do. And, I did a little.
That's a lot of fucking cereal boxes.
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6 layers per one, I think.
Huh.
So you think about like an Autobot logo, how many pieces are in that? The Decepticon was easier because it's not that many pieces.
Right.
The Autobot logo was pretty complicated, but so there's a lot of time into just that part of it. But just got more comfortable with the foam, and we started doing these kind of rock-based things, and Kelly got involved, and she started doing some of the projects, and once it just took off. I mean, I remember. That's kind of when I was like, well, I can afford to collect Hot Toys now because I'm making this supplemental income, which was nice. And then I guess that's really when, I was just really collecting Transformers. I started picking up a couple, Marvel Legends and some import stuff, but being able to have the disposable income a little bit easier, not having to dip into the household fund for any of that nonsense was a driving force, I'd say.
Right.
And it was cool that my wife was enjoying doing it, and we moved up here. Obviously, she got into her glasses, doing the glasses, and recently had kind of decided that wasn't something she wanted to really do anymore. So I'm like, well, come in with me. Let's go. And then obviously this thing's blown up this year, but I mean that's really how it got started. I wanted to make stuff for myself, and then now I don't make stuff for myself.
Yeah.
So,
I remember just as clear as day. Joe was here hanging out, and I was bitching about my 3 3/4 collection, as I did for years and years and years. And Joe was like, "Well, why don't you just build like steps for them?" And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, just get some foam and we'll cut it and then build some steps. And I was like, okay. And so we got some foam and we cut it. And then I was like, well, we could paint it and make it look like the different worlds. And he was like, yeah. And then before you knew it, him and I had made, like I remember we had one for Naboo, we had the Yavin Throne Room, we had 2 Imperial ones. One was First Order, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, we all made mistakes.
We had, like just fucking the Geonosis, Jabba's Palace. Like it was just like one after another, after another, after another. And then eventually we decided to step it over to 1/6, and like in that way, I know I've called Raul kind of Mary Poppins, but like in that way, Joe is very much like a Mary Poppins force in my life, where like I had this problem and he like came in on his umbrella and offered a solution, and the solution kind of evolved, and then like as soon as I was like up on my own, he like just let me be.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean that's it. It was mine was necessity being the mother of all invention. Like I needed something to display my 3 3/4. Ended up being CD shelves, but I needed something at the time.
Hey, it works.
It does. With that, we can close it out. Of course, we are down 1 dolphin today. He should be back next week. He has to work a full week, and I hope that he is 100%. He's been having a little bit of complaints recently, so I hope that he's 100%. And what else did I want to say? Oh, and we might have some exciting news. We might have some exciting news soon, but the 3 of us got to talk and kind of share some notes on something. So more on that later. And then for the rest, shout out to the Cool Table Network, Shattercast Uncut, Into the Realm, let's see, Stasis Lock, Building Up to It, Breaking the Mold, Fresh Communications, Verbally Challenged, Toy Detox. And shout out to the rest of the people on the Nerd Rage crew, Raul on Instagram, Dante the Destroyer, who he's getting his Off the Mat podcast up and rolling, so make sure to check that out. As well as Marilyn Phil, who's doing our notes and handling Twitter. Tyler and Andy and fucking Gort and everybody helping me with the Force Friday, Force Sensitive stuff. And Esteban as well, who does the Instagram over there, Manny behind the scenes. Did you have something that you want to throw out real quick?
Nope. And
let me before you get off, so to speak. I want to throw one more thing at you. I want to thank you and JD for being 2 constant sources of inspiration for me when I approach any of this stuff. And
thank you.
I acknowledge your business savviness too, and I think the world of all that. We had a private conversation I hope to get into more one day, where you had said it didn't even like sting me until later, but you had said that sometimes you feel as though I don't give you your full bouquet of flowers when you create something, and I want to let you know I think the world of what you do, and I want to remind you I brought up pictures of your dioramas at Christmas dinner to show my in-laws. That's how proud I am of the work you do.
Well, I was very confused when that first happened, but I realized you were proud to show off what your friend had done, and it was a very way to disarm a situation.
Yeah,
there's a little bit.
Yeah, there's that too. Breaking the ice.
Thank you.
Yes, do you know? You know how much a polar bear weighs?
I don't.
Enough to break the ice. How you doing? My name's Bobby.
And with that, tasty taint.
Tight dick player.